A first look is when a couple gets to see each other for the first time on their wedding day, before the ceremony. Now, most people have a pretty strong opinion about first looks. Either they love it or they don't want it at all. And they can definitely have their pros and cons. So I sat down with some of the leading wedding industry professionals and asked their opinion about first looks on your wedding day.
Oh, this one is really divided. It's honestly up to the couple, and whether you are a traditional couple who does not want to see each other prior to going down the aisle. Some people really want that moment because that's a moment you'll never get back. But some people, they may be more nervous not seeing each other prior to. So it just depends on whether you want to get the photos out of the way and enjoy the party later on and not have to be worried about it or be nervous, or if you would rather savor that moment going down the aisle. Now, first look is also something that will really determine the time frame for the rest of your day, especially at your venue and for the catering and for photos. So if you're not having a first look, you may want to build in more time between the end of your ceremony and the beginning of your cocktail hour. If you are having a first look, you can transfer straight from one to the next without having that time in between. So also keep in mind the time of the day and the season and how that will play into when your photos are taken.
That's a standard question for me. Are you having a first look? Because for me, it's like, okay, when do we need to get the flowers to you? We want those flowers to be at their absolute best. So for me, knowing your first look, and I would say talk to your photographer, or I'll talk to them, and we'll coordinate the time that is best. Because if they're just sitting around and your photographer's not getting there until 1 p.m. for the first look, I want them there when your photographer's there. They can do the detail shots, those flowers are looking their best, and that's, you know, I feel like it's really important to have them ready and perfect for the first look.
So many benefits of a first look. The number one I feel like is that stress reliever that goes away from just seeing your other person. I feel like keeping you separated for most of the day. I understand the tradition and I don't try to coerce couples either way. I can make it work photography wise, of course, but I feel like keeping you separated for that large a percentage of your wedding day, I feel like that stress almost kind of builds. I know for my wedding, as soon as I saw my husband first look, I felt just like it was our day. We could start enjoying ourselves. And so you can see that on people's faces, the relaxation that happens. And not to mention logistically, I feel like you get to enjoy your cocktail hour. You don't have to go and do the photo tour, all the family photos in that sort of short time period. You can actually eat the appetizers that you've picked out and mingle with your friends. And from a logistical perspective, checking off those photography boxes earlier in the day, couples always thank themselves.
A first look is a time to actually be emotionally connected to your other half. If you see each other at the aisle, you're going to walk up and you're staying in front of 150 to 300 people, you're not going to have a conversation. You're not going to tell each other how beautiful you look. You're not going to have any moment together. While it's fine, you're also going to suppress any other emotions you have. If you're a guy who tries to be tough, you're going to look almost angry, trying to hold back your emotions. Where if you have the first look, you get to be emotional by yourself, and then you guys get to connect. You guys get to spend your entire morning together, so it's not about the two of you independently. You guys are coming together. And then when you get to ceremony, the emotions that show are the ones that aren't being suppressed. You're not trying to fight back that, like, I'm going to cry. It's like, no, you are so excited to see her that you still will probably cry, but it's a different tear. It's a happy tear, not a, oh crap, this is the first time I'm talking to her tear. It's different. And then you still get to be as emotional as you would have been, but it's emotions that are flipped.
Aside from the emotional part of it, just practicality of your wedding day. If you've been to those weddings where there's been 3 hours between a ceremony and a reception, and that's not what you want for your wedding day, doing a first look means you can do your photos of the two of you ahead of time, photos of the wedding party ahead of time, and you can even do all your family photos ahead of time for all your immediate family. Save the big groups for after the ceremony maybe and spend like 15, 20 minutes doing that, but then you don't have that huge lull between ceremony and reception.
that you get your nerves under control and you get to see the person that's most important to you, and you get to relax together and you get to talk about what's happening and touch base. Because whether or not people realize, even if there is no first look, the bride coming down the aisle in front of 300 people is still a first look. People don't understand that. And they think that it takes away from the magic of, no, it's just, it provides a different opportunity, a different moment. You can have 2 first looks. You could have one in front of 300 people, and you could have one just one-on-one. And I think people show their emotions better when it's with their most intimate loved one, which is your other half that you're about to marry. And you get to be excited about the clothes that you're wearing and see her in the white dress, see you in the tux, and this is so exciting. It doesn't take away anything from you walking down the aisle at all, because then it's in front of all these people with different sets of eyes on you and different circumstance, and now you're about to get married. So it's 2 first looks.
Personal opinion, I love first looks, because it gives the couple, one, the opportunity to see themselves before the ceremony. So there is a little bit of an emotional diffusion where it's like, okay, ooh, you can take a breather. You're still going to have that excitement when you see one another walking down the aisle, because all of a sudden you have all these eyes on you now, so that anticipation and that excitement is just going to heighten. So the first look is super nice to split up the emotion, in my opinion. And also for us as creatives, it just adds this extra element of storytelling for us. So after the first look, you're taking photos, which really takes a lot of stress off you, because you can have a little bit more fun after the ceremony.
Depends on what's important to you. A lot of people have jitters, so they want that first look. Maybe a florist will tell you something else and a photographer will tell you something else. I think if you have jitters, to eliminate that, maybe plan that. You get all your emotion out. Will it stop you from crying at the altar? Probably not, because I bawled my eyes out, and so did my now husband. But if that's the only thing you're worried about for the jitters, I personally like making a grand entrance. I mean, you've looked for that dress. It took you so long to find it. And there's something about that first look at the end of the aisle that's waiting for you. I like to recreate that moment for my brides so that they can envision themselves in their setting, because they already know what their venue is. Right. And then they could imagine their bride or groom waiting at the end of the aisle for them.
I think it's a great idea to have the first look before the ceremony, just because then you still have that moment. Seeing your person come down the aisle is still beautiful, but it takes some of the pressure off. And it's also, you're still going to cry, it's still going to be dramatic, it's still going to be gorgeous, but having those moments just with it's just you, I think it's more intimate. It's allows you to be in the moment, because this day is going to go by so fast. Every opportunity you can have to just be together and enjoy each other and savor those moments is so important.
I think a first look is great in that you get to actually do the creative and artsy stuff for the photo and video. If you don't do the first look and you only have cocktail hour, you're limiting yourself to time to really get other locations or get the creative stuff that you're going to want, because that's going to be what's, your lasting memory is those photos and videos. Well, and then you don't have the emotional crying, the ugly cry when you first see each other too. Get your ugly cry out when you're not on camera.
I think this really helps detract from the nervousness of walking down the aisle. And there's a lot of comfort in looking into your partner's face and their eyes and knowing that it's your day. I highly recommend the first look. I mean, before, when you weren't supposed to see the bride before the wedding, it was all started so that prearranged marriages wouldn't call it off. I mean, nowadays we're all in. If you get to this point, you're in. I think that it helps you also get a lot of those photos out of the way so that you can spend more time enjoying your cocktail hour and your guests, and you'll be more relaxed when it comes to walking down the aisle and moving on with the ceremony.
I love them and hate them, but I love them because I think that it is a really intimate moment, and that is where you generate the best video footage, the best photo footage. So I do love them. But for hair and makeup perspective, that is a long time, like I said, to be waiting between your first look to the ceremony or to the reception. So things can kind of fall out between then, depending on how active your first look is.
Okay, huge benefits of a first look. I think especially on our property, because we have so many great areas for photos. We have the apple orchard, we have the vineyard, we have the pond, like so many great spaces. So if you want to try and get that in to 45 minutes after the ceremony while you're doing cocktail hour, then it's not going to be fun for you. So do the first look, take the hour and a half to 2 hours, get all that stuff done, and then you can actually go and enjoy your cocktail hour. Wouldn't that be nice? So yeah, absolutely.
Well, it just extends your day. So in the way I think of it, you're gonna have to get your photographer for longer. You're gonna have to take video for longer. Hair and makeup start earlier. It's a longer day for you. But I get the idea. It's very intimate, very personal, very touching. But on my side, it just makes your day longer.
I get both sides. I chose not to have a first look because I wanted my husband to cry the moment he saw me in front of 300 people, and it worked. I think first looks are great for timeline constraints. Daylight savings time when it's dark at 3:30, those are very important things that you can't fake with natural sunlight if it's dark out. So having that opportunity to have the first look earlier in the day, you get to spend more time together. You're supposed to like each other enough to get married to want to spend more of your wedding day together. So having a first look allows you to do that.
I think there's a lot of benefits. I think it's so important for a first look. It's a good memory to have, just to see each other for the first time on your wedding day, and your flowers look fresher when you do it, and you'll capture like that moment, and it's just a good memory to have. Seeing how amazing you both look, I think everybody should do a first look.
So many benefits of a first look, literally so many. Your photographers, videographers will love you. You'll get more time on camera doing the creative shots. Your hair and makeup look amazing. Your dress and your tux or suit or whatever you guys are wearing will look fabulous. You don't have all the guests like hugging you and like ruining your floral. Your flowers actually look fresher because they're younger. And you just get more time and you're relaxed. So when you see each other when you walk down the aisle, it's just so much better. You still get the intimate time, just the two of you, but then it's like another repeat of that when she's walking down the aisle or he's walking, whoever's getting married, you see each other for the first time, you're like, oh yeah, this is exciting.
I love first looks. I think I wish they were around when I got married, because when your first look is in front of 200 people, that's like that, I don't know, that's not as intimate, I think, as it should be. A lot of people, when they first started happening, people would, my parents don't like, the older generations kind of frown on them, but let's face, we'll get into this at a different question. Like, that day is not for you. That first look, that's for the two of you. So do it, enjoy it, and that's like the one time that you guys get to just, a good photographer and a good videographer, they're going to capture that. But they're not going to do it in such a way that they're going to take away from, yes, they might make you, okay, wait there, now come, but you're still going to be able to enjoy that moment between the two of you, and it will likely be the only time during the day that you get that one-on-one time. So do it and love it.
We hope this episode of Vendors helps you on your wedding planning. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and to share to make sure you and your fellow planning couples don't miss a single episode. If you enjoyed watching this video, be sure to check out our entire conversation in the podcast. You can find all of today's vendors and their contact information in the details below this video. And be sure to check out all of our episodes about these amazing wedding industry professionals. We'll see you next time on Vendors. Vendors is produced and edited by Night Owls Media. More information can be found at nightowlsmedia.com.